Not only does Victoria Zdrok have a PhD in psychology and a law degree, she's also the 2004 Penthouse Pet of the Year. Victoria, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, I want to start with the smart stuff, okay? You basically graduated college at 18 with a 3.96 cum.
Yes, I was the first Ukrainian exchange student that came to the United States at the age of 16, and at 18 I had my college degree.
That's amazing. And now you also have a law degree, and you're about to get your PhD in psychology.
I already got my PhD.
You got your PhD in psychology.
last May.
Okay, now when do you fit the Penthouse Pet stuff in?
Well, I modeled all throughout my educational career. And I started when I was in law school. I was going through a divorce at that time, and I was short on cash, so I posed for Playboy. So that was $20,000 to pay for my, law school loans. So that's what it first started.
How did Playboy come to you?
It was really interesting. I was actually in Chicago for International Law Convention, and my friends
and I've dealt with a lot of lawyers, and you're very typical looking for a lawyer.
Well,
so you
actually,
probably blended right in there.
You'd be surprised. In
I would be
law
surprised.
school, there were a lot of pretty girls.
Okay, but we'll go with that. Okay.
Well, they were all actually in International Law Society.
Okay.
Anyway, so I was in Chicago, and my friends and I were out late at night, and I had a scout come up to me and say, "You know what? You look like a playmate. Why don't you try out?" And I was really surprised, and I thought, well, that's kind of strange. And my friends made fun of me. They said, it's a great pickup line. We should all have cards, that say Playboy Scout.
I've tried it. It doesn't work, though. Okay.
But so on a bet, I sent my pictures in, and 3 weeks later, I became, I was shot for Playboy Centerfold.
That's amazing. Now, the big controversy, you eventually jumped ship from Playboy to Penthouse.
Yeah.
And eventually become Penthouse of the Year, but Mr. Hefner was quite upset with you when you did this.
Yeah.
Tell me what happened.
Well, I was one of the Playboy favorite playmates. I did a lot of promotions for them. I worked very closely with Christy Hefner. I did a lot of events with her. And for a long time, I was happy with Playboy. When I started my website, when internet took off, Playboy became very controlling. I don't know if you remember, but they actually sued Terry Wells, who started her own website, because at that time, they tried to prevent Playmates to have any content of their own. They wanted Playboy.com.
They just own you. You said it was like communism, basically.
It was.
They just own you, and that's it.
They wanted Playboy.com to be the only portal for Playmate pictures. So they sued Terry Wells and tried to prevent her from using the word Playboy Playmate as part of the search engine. And of course, eventually they lost.
Sure.
And Playboy basically said, if you want to do your own thing, that's fine, but you're not working for us. So you have to make that choice. And I chose to be on my own. So that's when I cut all ties with Playboy.
And you said you're more of a Penthouse girl because of the sexuality, that basically that Penthouse, that Hef doesn't want any of the girls doing anything other than frolicking at the mansion.
It's actually very different. A Playboy girl is sort of like the good girl next door gone bad just for Playboy. So the nudity is accidental, the girl is shy and timid. The Penthouse pet is more of a confident woman, a woman that's very comfortable with her sexuality, flaunts her sexuality.
Right. Just flaunt the head for our viewers, by the way. It's okay. Just, we're going to take a second we're going to take a little second for flaunting here. Just give a little 5-second pause.
So, and very comfortable talking about sex. So to me, a Penthouse pet is not sort of accidentally nude, but does it by choice and is comfortable with her body.
Oh, so you mean the Playboys? Those are accidental. When they're in the haystacks, that's just purely accidental.
It's supposed to be sort of the voyeuristic, accidental nudity. The girl next door that just happened to be nude, but she's a good girl.
Right.
So when bunnies go bad.
Yeah, and you're a bunny going bad.
Yeah, I'm going.
So Hefner sent you letters actually saying how disappointed and that you've gone into porn and what was your what was your reaction to that? All of a sudden you get letters from this guy?
I was actually very surprised because I haven't done hardcore porn.
Right.
What I did at that time was a little more than Playboy, but actually what Playboy was doing on the Playboy channel.
Sure.
So it was very hypocritical of them. Here they are, the Playboy magazine is supposed to be this sort of pure, very accidental nudity, but the Playboy channel is very sexual.
Yeah.
So I was doing a little more on my website, and I was stunned to receive this letter. It basically stated, you were one of our best and brightest playmates. We're sorry to see you go, but basically banned me from the mansion.
And he almost seems like a jilted lover, speaking of which, you think a lot of it has to do is because his wife thought that you and him were having an affair in the mid-90s.
Well, yeah, that was earlier, so I had a few a few problems with Playboy, and that was back in '95. As part of my Playmate run, I was doing promotions, and I took some photos standing next at the Playboy party, standing next to Hugh Hefner, and his tie was crooked, so I sort of, gently corrected his tie. Of course, the photos that ran all over all the newspapers was like, Hef has a new girlfriend, and here she is, all over him. Anyways, it wasn't true at all. I was actually married at that time.
You were married?
I was married, and he was married at that time. He actually is still married. Most people don't know. Hef is still married.
To how many women?
He's still married to Kimberly Conrad. They're legally separated.
So are people shocked when they meet you, when they find out about the law degree, and does that intimidate guys even more?
Well, actually, most people don't believe me. They think it's something I just made up. How can you possibly be a lawyer and psychologist? One of my friends says I should have a vanity plate, JD, PhD, 36D. I said, no, I'll pass. So a lot of guys do get intimidated. And when I was in graduate school, most men avoided me. And you would think I would sit at the Villanova Law School library and there would be nobody around me.
You hear that from beautiful girls all the time. And I never believe it when I hear it from these actresses. And they says, well, nobody comes over. I find that bizarre. I find that just hard to believe.
They get intimidated. And I many times I had to approach men.
Now you have the Porn Fair Expo coming up.
Well, it's actually called Supermodel Expo.
Supermodel Expo.
I wanted to create the same kind of medium here in New York because it's never been done in New York. So Supermodels Expo was supposed to host Penthouse Pets, Playboy Playmates, Mystique models, Perfect 10 models.
Great idea. We love it.
Swimsuit Illustrated models.
Big idea.
Beautiful
Huge endorsement
women.
on this idea. We love it.
And meet their fans, take photos, sign autographs. What happened is I emailed all of the Playmates and invited them to this show, and I've gotten tons of responses. Everybody wanted to come, everybody loves New York. But then what happened is somehow Playmate Promotions found out about it, and they immediately sent letters to all the Playmates to have nothing to do with the show. I think part of the reason that they send that letter is because the show, Supermodels Expo, will be held at the Pennsylvania Hotel, which is right next to General Media, Penthouse. So I think the big bunny got scared.
Well, we're going to be doing a live remote Big Idea coming up at this expo. Victoria, thank you so much for being here. This was great. Penthouse Pet of the Year, Victoria Zdrok. We'll be back with more of the Big Idea. Stick around.